Last time we went to White Bay for a day at the beach, specifically the Soggy Dollar Beach Bar. We took a cab over the hill to the beach. The main drag on Joost Van Dyke is the sandy road where all the restaurants and shops reside. The vistas during the cab ride were spectacular. We arrived and we were ready for time at this amazing beach. My ex-stepbrother Jay and his wife Julie had bought painkillers on the drink board for everyone on board. Thank you very much, and Leon is setting us up. Georgia and crew enjoyed their painkillers, floaties, and visiting.
Deflating the fun!
And just like that, it was time to go. We cleaned up and went ashore for dinner. Mark, the taxi driver, saw Mike on crutches and me limping and offered to take us to the restaurant. Unbeknownst to us, he was doing this at no charge as a good deed. Thank you, Mark. Experiences like this keep us coming back.
Gabby?
Look at Gabby, look.
Okay, smile.
Look at her.
Bye, Gabby.
Thanks for playing with us.
Bye, sweet girl. It was great to meet you. Okay.
Gabby visited with all of us, and we had a lovely dinner at Tipsy Shark. We had another spectacular morning at Great Harbor. We headed back to the dock at Conch Charters under overcast and rainy skies. We were back at the dock and took a cab to Mayette's for our last dinner together. We saw the election results parade. We enjoyed some amazing music at Mayette's. We said farewell to our guests as they left by taxi and ferried back to St. Thomas. Thank you for sailing with us. Our guests are leaving on that ferry. It is quiet on the boat, and Georgia and I must press on. There is much to do: cleaning, boat chores, and projects. I am cleaning the generator sea strainer and removing the debris. The hum you hear is the air conditioning condenser cooling water pump. Exciting stuff. The oil filter wrench seems to work well, as it fits just about everything. There was some debris in the filter which needs to be removed. Now it all goes back together and is tested to verify that it is not leaking or sucking air. Making the lid tight, but not too tight. Alright, that's that. So my favorite activity today was cleaning the bilges. So this one, it does smell a little fresher, so that's all good news. While I'm making light of cleaning the bilges, having clean bilges is very important. Any debris, paper, dirt, sand, sawdust, tie wrap cuttings, or other stuff can interfere with the bilge pump being able to pump water. A failed bilge pump or pumps can be disastrous. The Conch Charter crew came on board and did an amazing job of turning the boat around, including cleaning, fitting new linens, and making the boat fresh and presentable for us and our next guests. If you have ever made a bed on a boat, you know that you are on the bed as you are making it. It's very challenging. Just like being at a hotel.
She did a terrific job.
We walked to the Right Way Food Market, shopped for our provisions, and took a cab back. I wanted to walk and get some exercise, but it was probably a mistake, even though it was a slow walk. My heel is not yet healed, and I paid a price for this jaunt. We have gotten a few provisions to sustain us for the next few days until we return to the dock to pick up our guests at the end of the week. For now, we get back to the boat, stow everything, and get started on boat cleaning, chores, and projects. You can see that I'm walking with a limp. I woke up and came topside and found this fire raging on the shoreline just right over there. Boats and such were ablaze. Apparently there was an arsonist lighting fires all around Tortola. The fire crews had it under control, but not before there was significant damage to some vessels, and others were a total loss. If you have saltwater toilets, One way to keep your head smelling fresh is to flush the seawater out of the lines. Use the shower line to fill the toilet with fresh water and pump it out through the holding tank or overboard. Continue to do so until the lines are thoroughly flushed. The organisms in the seawater are the source of the smell as they die and rot. Get rid of that source and the boat remains smelling fresh. This is important to do when the boat will sit idle or the toilet won't be used. It's really that simple. Now that I've used some fresh water to flush the toilets, it is time to check the level in the tank. I've used about a quarter of the port tank to flush 4 toilets, so we will fill that tank. Okay, I have to get the hose to the other side of the boat, turning on the water, removing the fill cap and placing the cap and tool inboard so it doesn't accidentally get kicked overboard, removing the pistol grip so we can get more flow. Of course, waiting patiently while the tank fills. The tank is now full. Reinstalling the cap and making sure it is tight, but not too tight. Voila! It is time to perform a general cleanup and hose the boat down with water. Foot traffic, dirt, and airborne dust collect rather quickly. As I hose off the boat, I discover that I need a brush to remove some of the grime. As I scrub, I realize that there are quite a few rust spots on the gel coat. I need to treat these areas with rust stain remover. I am using a chip brush to spread the chemical to all the rust areas. Let the rust spot remover sit for 5 to 15 minutes and then rinse it away with fresh water. I went around the entire boat and treated all the areas where rust and rust spots were present to make them go away. And rinsed again with fresh water and voila, done. A few hours later, the debris from the fire filled the bay with burnt wood. It had a chemical smell that doesn't smell very good. Unfortunate, and it's not very nice of the arsonists. I certainly hope that they were caught. I was asked to take a photograph of their group and am happy to do so. These folks have just completed their charter. They are using a private water taxi service that comes to the Conch Charters dock to pick them up and ferry them to St. Thomas. They load up the bags, clear them out of the BVI while they wait aboard the boat, and ferry them to the U.S. Virgin Islands and clear them in.
Thank you.
It's very convenient, and if there are enough people, this approach makes good sense. The best part is that they work on your schedule and when you want and need to go. While our neighbors at the dock are going home, Georgia and I have untied the lines and we are pressing on. It is just Georgia and me, and we have Cabo all to ourselves, which is nice. But honestly, it is amazing to have guests and be able to share the sailing and island experience. It's a beautiful day, and we are headed to the north sound of Virgin Gorda and will anchor on the lee side of Prickly Pear Island. There isn't much wind from any direction, so we motored the entire way. While anchoring, I walked to the bow to check to see if I could see the anchor below without having to dive it. Sure enough, the crystal clear waters showed that the anchor was well set. Also below was a ray swimming along the bottom right near the anchor. It is always amazing to see the wildlife in their natural habitat doing their thing. The North Sound is a great anchorage, and there is always plenty of water-based activities to be enjoyed. With just 2 people, this 9.9 horsepower Nissan engine can get the dinghy on plane and we can go places with a little speed. Our first stop was the boat bar at the Bitter End Yacht Club, and we visited with Baccus.
The last time we met was on Tortola.
Yeah. You and Julia were going
with Julie, yeah.
We got to visit with Claus and Theresa. We met Claus and Theresa at Oilnet Bay last time during lunch. Claus and Theresa are sailing the BVI on their Leopard 40. It is always nice to visit with fellow travelers. So we're here with our friends, Claus and Theresa, and we're visiting at the Bitter End Yacht Club. Nice to see you two again.
So good to see you guys.
After a lovely visit with Claus and Theresa, we are now making our way back to the boat. The setting sun lights up the Bitter End Yacht Club, and it looks spectacular. It always feels like a special moment that we should cherish. We all have a limited number of sunsets and sunrises, and the good ones, which are many, are to be remembered. If we have someone to share them with, we are very fortunate. Come back next time as we go on an adventure around the North Sound of Virgin Gorda, only to have the dinghy not start as we drift into the surf. The anchor drags and resets at Cooper Island, but our swing angle puts us over shallow water, so we pull the hook and get underway at twilight and grab a mooring ball in the dark. All this and more. We appreciate your likes, invite you to subscribe, and please leave a comment or a question. Thanks for watching.